This is the last of my 5-part series outlining my time as a paranormal investigator, and we're going to leave you with my best evidence that I ever received.
The story of my life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Felix. And I've been talking over my last 4 videos, other than my 9/11 video, about my time as a paranormal investigator. What I didn't talk about was some of the evidence I received. Now, in my first video, I talked about the different teams that I'd been with, and then I talked about how I formed my own team, which was bigger than all of the other teams combined. And with the first team that I was with, which was NPPI, I did an investigation at the Keith House in Graham Park in Pennsylvania. During that investigation, I was in the Keith House and I was in a room in the front of the house. I believe it was their study. And I was doing just a simple EVP session, which the explanation of that again is on the screen. And I got a piece of evidence that was at the time my best EVP ever. And it was what I assumed to be Dr. Graham saying, "We hate you." Now, I don't have the actual voice recordings from that time. As a matter of fact, I really don't have any of the voice recordings from my time. But it was kind of a hateful way of saying it, too. He came with, "We hate you." And this was a Class A EVP. It was crystal clear. Not one person who heard it had any doubt about what it said. Then, when I was with Spirit of Pennsylvania, we got an investigation at a house where a young child was being repeatedly bombarded by negative paranormal energy to the point of she couldn't stay in her room. She was 7 years old. She couldn't stay in her room, and quite honestly, she had expressed to her parents that she didn't want to stay in that house. And this was kind of an unusual investigation because when we got on scene, and we knew this prior, the husband was a police officer, actually a detective, and the wife was a pretty successful entrepreneur. So this was what we called at the time a McMansion that we were going into. When we arrived on scene, the husband showed us the girl's bedroom, handed us the keys to the house, and the both of them left. They left this house to us entirely, and they were meeting us for the first time. Just to give you an idea of how frightened these people were. Now, my team leader at the time was not necessarily in line with my methods of investigating. She went into that room, the girl's room, and she did basically an EVP session. I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do was do an EVP session, but attack this negative energy. Challenge it. And, think of it in terms of, well, you're a big man with a 7-year-old girl. What do you got for me? So that's exactly what I did against the objections of my team leader. I went in and I laid down on this little girl's bed and I started berating this spirit. Well, I guess it's a case of be careful what you wish for. You might get it. But this spirit came for me. I started to feel a sudden pressure right here, both sides, like somebody had put their hands on my head. And I stepped up my game. "Oh, that's all you got? You're nothing to be scared of." The pressure increased. And it continued to increase with me not backing down to the point of it becoming painful. I got to a point where I said, "You know what? You're not even worth my time. I'm done with you." And I went to sit up on the bed. And I could not. I could not move my head from that bed. It took my team leader and one of the other investigators to help me get up off that bed. That was the end of our encounters with that spirit. For the rest of our time investigating, we had nothing else. I was never made privy to the aftermath of that investigation. But I would tend to think that I may have pissed it off enough that it came after me instead of staying with the little girl, which was my intent all along. Now, I'm about to tell you my final piece of best evidence, which should tell you something. In 12 years as a paranormal investigator, and granted, this is based on my standards, of all the pieces of evidence that I received, and I once saw what I believe to be a shadow apparition. I saw a half-body apparition, and I've heard many, many pieces of EVP evidence that were questionable. But in 12 years, these three pieces of evidence are quite honestly the only three that I would accept as true evidence of the paranormal. Maybe I had too strict standards, but this is why you can't watch a show that's on every week and a different location and truly believe that they're getting evidence every week. It just doesn't happen. So, for my last piece, my team, this is when I was with HOT, Haunted Operations Team of Pennsylvania, we became the, I guess, in-house paranormal team for a place called the Kaufman House, which is, I believe, currently a restaurant and bar. We did an investigation there prior to starting to run public investigations on the regular at this place. We did an investigation on our own. Now, the place isn't that big. It's fairly big, but it's not really, really big. The main room is up the stairs when you walk in the house. You go up the stairs, and there's a big, I think they used it as a catering room. We set up our headquarters, so to speak, at the bottom of those stairs, just to the left, in a very small room. Now, that's important because the distance between that room upstairs and that little room that we were headquartered in isn't that far at all. My team was in the big room. The rest of us were down at headquarters monitoring. They picked up a horrendously loud scream on their voice recorders. It was clearly a woman, and it was a terrified scream. Now, why it's important that we were so close is that nobody down in the headquarters room, and as a matter of fact, there was one person standing right at the bottom of the steps, heard it. Not a single person down there heard it. And I can tell you, it was loud enough on the recording that you should have been able to hear it throughout the entire house, possibly even out at the street. We came to find out that this place had previously been a brothel many, many years ago. And it was known for some of the clients to be very abusive of the sex workers that were there. And that one of them had actually gotten killed. So our assumption, and that's all we have to go on, was that it was that woman screaming in terror from the beating she was receiving. That's it for my paranormal series. Next week, you'll have to tune in and you'll see what next week's is. So hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Until then, I'm Felix, and these are the stories of my life.